This week, the world looked on as a global phenomenon took shape. The search for the Titan, a submersible created by Oceangate Incorporated with one goal, to travel to and from the wreck of the Titanic. The Titan went missing on June 18, 2023 during a tourist expedition. 5 people were on board, and all at this time are believed to have perished. The Titan made international news, with millions of people speculating about the search and rescue, as well as what had happened to this vessel. And it did not take long for the rumor mill to go into overdrive, especially as we found out that the vessel itself, the Titan, had never been certified by any agency. Stockton Rush, the CEO and founder of Oceangate Incorporated and one of the 5 lost on the expedition, has been quoted saying, "At some point, safety is just pure waste." He seemed to be an individual who was content to break the rules and take risks, but shrugged off concerns about the safety of the vessel. As I watched the world become fixated on this case, I had to ask myself, why? There are so many stories that the media could be reporting on. Why this one? And yes, there were points to this story that were kind of crazy. A lot of people were shocked that the tourists that went on this expedition had to pay $250,000 each to be a part of it. So was that part of it? Was it because there were wealthy people on board? Was it the possibility of a rescue? Or was it the public's insatiable appetite for anything to do with the Titanic? And that left me in a place genuinely asking, why do people care so much about a ship that sunk 100 years ago? And I'm not asking that question to criticize or to be rude to anyone who is fascinated by the Titanic. I just genuinely do not understand. So I started to research, hoping to find some clarity. I also did just want to mention before we got super far into the video that this is in no way an exhaustive list of all the reasons why people are obsessed with Titanic. This is a very personal thing for a lot of people, and I'm not going to pretend to understand it or know all of the reasons. These are just the reasons that I found as I did my research that really stuck out to me. So basically, this is a long way of me saying that this video is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
And if you love the Titanic and you have reasons that you love it that differ from any of the ones that I talk about in this video, please feel free to leave a comment and share your perspective. I would honestly love to hear it. I wondered if it was the romanticism of the 1997 film, and I just didn't get it. The movie came out when I was young, and let's just say my parents didn't find it to be an appropriate film for a child my age, but I do remember other kids going to see it multiple times, and I could not for the life of me understand why everyone wanted to go see a movie about a boat sinking in mass tragedy. Also, My Heart Will Go On annoyed me. Nothing against Celine Dion, she is a legend. It was just very overplayed. But I really thought about this, and I don't think the obsession with the film actually ever went away. I mean, how many of us have been on a boat and had to have an I'm king of the world moment, or have made jokes about draw me like one of your French girls? Or the countless debates about whether or not Jack could have fit on the door, and I mean literally Britney Spears referencing it in Oops, I Did It Again.
But I thought the old lady dropped him into the ocean in the end.
If there's a Britney reference, I'm going to find it.
I will find you.
Titanic is one of the most successful films ever made, and I know that other movies have been released since that have made more money, but when adjusted for inflation, Titanic still beats them. And critically, Titanic was also a success. It was nominated for 14 Academy Awards and won 11 of them, including Best Picture. But I didn't think the film would be the main reason that people were obsessed with what was happening with Oceangate. I have a friend who reached out to me, and they are obsessed with the Titanic, and they did give me an explanation that I thought was kind of interesting. And I'm going to read it so I get it right. He said, "The fact that it was meant to be invincible, state-of-the-art, the strongest, fastest, and most luxurious for the period, and all it took was a bit of frozen water to take it out. For as long as I can remember, when people talk about the Titanic, they talk about how it was supposed to be unsinkable. And I started to wonder if that actually was true, so I looked it up, and I found an article on Britannica that gets into this. While it's hard to say whether people thought the ship was absolutely unsinkable under any circumstance, it is clear that people believed the passenger liner's safety design was state-of-the-art, and some did describe it as unsinkable before it even set sail. Reportedly, the claim was enough to keep many passengers calm, even as the ship was in fact sinking. A vice president for the company in charge of the voyage told U.S. Congress that he initially did not believe reports that the ship was sinking because he thought it to be unsinkable. So even though the ship was in fact touted as unsinkable before it sank, it was the irony of its tragic sinking that actually brought that claim to the fore.
But this ship can't sink.
The Titanic was an achievement. Man had created this indestructible, extravagant ship. It was designed to be the pinnacle of luxury and comfort. Some of the wealthiest people in the world were on that ship, and they literally enjoyed a 10-course meal of excellence before perishing. And on that note, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't mention that passengers on the Titanic were split up into classes, first, second, and third. First being the most wealthy. Second class was still really nice and very luxurious, but not the same as first class. And third class, for the most part, were immigrants and workers. On a ship of excellence, 39% of the first class passengers lost their lives compared to 76% of the third class. I see a lot of fascination with these numbers and the social commentary that comes with it, the idea that the wealthy were more valued. And as I did further research on the Titanic itself, I found an interview from a survivor of Titanic, Ava Hart. Now, Ava's whole interview is fascinating. I have the link in the description if you want to see it. It's a tough watch at points, but listening to her talk about this is incredible. But one part of this interview in particular struck me.
I agree with my dear Dr. Ballard's words. He said the whole thing was a tribute to man's arrogance. That man can be so arrogant as to build something and claim that it is undestroyable, if you like. True, if the Titanic had struck rocks or a tempest and storm and sunk, that would be one thing, but this was a ship that needn't have had any loss of lives. All these years later, this interest is profound, and it's because there was no need for anyone to die.
And I have to ask, is this what people find fascinating about the Titanic? Are Titanic and eerily the Titan examples of man's arrogance? This idea that we can create things that are stronger than nature. Yes, the Titanic was an incredible achievement, but next to the ocean, it's insignificant. Did the Titan achieve something that very few vessels can? Yes, but at what cost? In both situations, the Titan and the Titanic, if more safety precautions had been taken, it could have changed everything. I also can't help but wonder if part of the Titan's appeal was its wealthy passengers. But at the same time, 4 days earlier, 300 migrants and refugees were lost in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. There's been a lot of criticism over the way that the crisis was handled, with human rights advocates frustrated that the world seemed to have already moved on and that the resources and media attention being dedicated to the Titan rescue efforts far outweighed those for the sunken migrant ship. Judith Sunderland, Associate Director for the Human Rights Watch's Europe and Central Asia Division, told NBC News, "The willingness to allow certain people to pass while every effort is made to save others, it's a, really dark reflection on humanity." I think there are different reasons for the obsession of Titanic and, by extension, the Titan. For some people, it's the history. For some, it's the technology. For others, it's a social commentary. But something that really stuck with me after all my research was the contrast of the best and worst of humanity, our ability to create, challenge, and explore, but also our tendency to ignore the consequences of our actions. I don't think I'm ever going to fully understand the obsession about the Titanic, but that's okay. And I doubt we've heard the end of this story, especially as more and more skeletons in Oceangate's closet seem to be coming out. And as frustrated as I am with this whole Titan situation, my condolences go out to the families of those who were lost. Regardless of our class, we all feel the same things and we will all meet the same end. I just genuinely hope we can all learn something from this and we never see a situation like this again. Well, that is the video. If you have any ideas about why people are obsessed with Titanic, please share them below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, while you're here, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe. Well, that's it. Much love. Bye.